Okay, welcome back. In the first lecture of this section here, we're going to start a new playground. So go ahead and click on Xcode and click the Get Started with a Playground button. I'm going to call this Declaring Constants and Variables. I'm going to hit Next and we'll save it, of course, to the desktop is fine. So you'll see the playground simulator is a little bit different. You can go ahead and stretch it out, make it a little bit easier for you. So first, I just wanted to note, during all of the lectures in this section, I'm going to be writing out a lot of stuff, both comments and code. I do suggest that you follow along and do all of it. You're only going to learn coding by actually typing and practicing. However, as a worst case scenario, I do have all of these playgrounds for each of these lectures saved for you as resources in this section, so you can download, open them, and check them out and study them. But I do suggest you play along for now. Okay, so first off, on the left-hand side here, we have a comment, which you're already familiar with. So this means nothing to the actual program, it's just a comment. A playground is a place where you can play. Great, that's what we're going to do. Next, you have this import UI kit. So you're wondering, what does that mean? In all of your programs, you're going to be importing different frameworks into the project, which means basically you're allowing the program to use a certain chunk of code that Apple has already developed. In this case, import UI kit means we're going to have access to all of the UI kit code and be able to use it. The UI kit stands for User Interface Kit, and it's a framework. So I'm just going to type all this out for you. I think it's important. This is stuff I wish people taught me from the beginning too. It's a framework that provides crucial infrastructure to manage an app's interface. That's what UI kit is. Okay, here we have var string equals hello playground. So what that means is this is a variable called, the variable is named str, and the variable is equal to a string, which is a bunch of text. And text is always going to be inside of parentheses, and it's hello playground. And you can see it's printed over to the side here. This is what this right side is for, to show you what code you're typing is actually doing while it's executing. So I want to add in a larger comment here for you to have, and that is that declaring constants and variables is the foundation, the absolute foundation of app building. And as you can see in this declaration of var str equals hello playground, the key to declaring a variable is that something on the left side of the equation is equal to something on the right side of the equation. All right, so str is equal to hello playground. So here's what I need you to do. You need to start thinking logically and in this type of, shall we say, relationship, right? Something is equal to something. That's what it's all about declaring variables and constants. So let's discuss constants and variables more. Okay, a constant. It's something in your app, right? It's something that can't be changed throughout the app's execution. Constants will always be the same. A variable, on the other hand, is something that can be changed throughout the app's execution. That's the key difference. A constant can't be changed, a variable can be changed. Let's just say, for example here, okay, so I've just added this in here just to show you an example. Here, like in an app, someone's birthday would be a constant, right? Because that never changes. A person's birthday is always their birthday. Well, their weight would be a variable, right? Because that's something that fluctuates hour by hour, day by day, week by week. So it's weight would be a great example of a variable, right? So how do we actually declare a constant? Well, you use, instead of var for a variable, to declare a constant, use the word let. So for example, let's do let my name equal, well, my name is Craig. So let my name equal Craig. That's not going to change. How about declaring a variable? Well, that's var, as you already know. And let's say my favorite color equals red. Right? It's a variable because currently my favorite color is red, but maybe next week it'll be blue, or maybe next year it'll be green. It will change over time, most likely. So that is going to be a var variable. So now, for example, let's say that my favorite color does change. Let's say it changes to purple. Well, in the app, if I needed to actually make that change, because right now my favorite color is red, all I would do is type the variable, my favorite color, equals, let's say, purple. So now, even though you initially had given the value of my favorite color to red, 2 lines later you decided it needs to change and now it's purple, So all you have to do is write it just like this, and it changes. Again, this is back to the something on the left equals something on the right. And since variables can be changed, you can use that relationship to make the adjustments during the app's execution. So let's say we wanted to try changing my name. Right? My name equals, let's say, Bob. We're going to get an error. Watch. See, there's the error. And if you click on the little error sign, what does it say? Cannot assign to value. My name is a let. It's a constant. So the compiler is already yelling at us saying, hey, you declared my name as a constant, so therefore you can't change it later. Sorry. So that's fine. Let's just comment out that line, and we'll continue on. So that's the difference between declaring a constant and a variable, and that is how you change a variable. Okay, next I've added this little comment here, which is important when declaring constants and variables for many reasons, as you'll see as we go through the course, but there are two different types of declarations. One is called implicit declaration and explicit declaration. And this difference means you either let the compiler assume what type of variable or constant you're using, which is implicit declaration, or you don't, which means you tell it exactly what type of variable it should be, and that's explicit declaration. There's no difference in the performance between how you declare these variables. It's a personal preference. However, as you build more complex apps, it may be very useful for you to be explicitly declaring things, and you'll see examples of that later. But for now, an implicit declaration is the following. Let's do a variable called number, and let's have that equal 5. So implicitly, the compiler is saying, okay, I have a variable called number, and it looks to me like it's an integer of the value 5. Okay, so now the compiler is going to assume that var number is an integer. Well, if we wanted to explicitly tell the compiler that it is an integer, you would do this. Var, let's call it second number, and then you would do a colon int equals 5. So now here you're telling the compiler this definitely is an integer. Second number definitely is an integer. So don't assume it is one, it definitely is. And since they're declared, we can go ahead and change them. So let's make number equal to 12. And there's no problem there, it changes it. And let's make second number equal to 101. And of course, there's no problems there. So that is how you declare a constant or a variable, how you can change the values or can't change them. And then this is the difference between implicit and explicit declaration. Very useful in the future. So in the next lecture, we're actually going to go over various types of constants and variables that you can use. I'll see you then.